Our founding scripture comes from Isaiah chapter 58. In this particular passage, God is chastising His people through the prophet because they're simply going through religious motions instead of sincerely seeking His heart with a willingness to obey. Fasting as a form of self-denial fell short of God's intent for His people to care for others. Beginning in verse 6, He says, "Is this not the fast I choose, that you divide your bread with the hungry, shelter the homeless poor, and clothe the naked?" Today, God is still calling His people to action that stems from real compassion. The call hasn't changed, and the promises haven't either. In verse 11, Isaiah conveys God's promise of a flourishing life when we help the poor. "You'll be like a watered garden and like a spring whose waters never fail." Most of us have experienced this. It feels really good to give. But how can we do that without worsening the entitlement mentality we see too often among the poor in our cities? How can we care for people in need without trapping them in dependency? What is the key to empowerment? At Watered Gardens Ministries, we believe it starts with viewing each person as a unique contributor with ability and capacity, more than just a head counted as a number with a need. From the moment we greet someone who steps into our outreach center for food or shelter or some other basic need, we recognize the brokenness and the injustice, but we also look beyond that to the person God made in His image. Acting on that vision of the person as contributor, we provide an opportunity for anything in our ministry to be earned in our worth shop. Work doesn't only awaken worth, but it starts a person down that path of experiencing the joy of earned success. That path may be at our Washington Family Hope Center, where we help moms with children regain their footing, begin to dream about a better future, and then develop a plan to reach it. Or it may be through our Center for Virtue and Work, Forge, a long-term program for men focused on character development and work readiness, with a goal to graduate Christians who are employed, independent, and active in their local church. Empowerment begins with having the proper perspective of the human person. But for the work of empowerment to be successful, we believe it must be done from private, voluntary means. This is why Watered Gardens Ministries has never taken a government dollar. We also believe ongoing success is dependent on our diligence to measure impact. Without measuring outcomes, success is merely conjecture. We are successful, and we want you to be a part of it. And the more you are, the more successful we'll be. Will you read again Isaiah 58? And when you do, I hope you too will hear the call of God on your own life to give and serve out of compassion and in a way that's both relational and responsible. There's someone out there right now who's only known the receiving end of another's charity. Let's empower him instead.